This episode is brought to you by Arcat. You've heard us talk about Arcat in our podcast by now, and hopefully you've had time to visit their site. This is a great tool for you, from small architecture firms to government agencies. Everyone can benefit from what they've created. The content libraries in Arcat are huge and full of free content. CAD, BIM, specifications, and more. Why is this important to you? Because Arcat has done all the work for you. Need a spec? It's in the CSI 3-part master format and available in multiple file formats. And this is just one example. Arcat has tons of building product content ready for you to use. It's all free and you don't have to register to download content. If you use other sites like we have, you must register to get content. Why bother with that? Go to this episode's sponsor, Arcat, and visit them at arcat.com.
And this episode is also sponsored by AIA Advantage partner BQE Software, who are the makers of Archispeak. Archispeak is the only office and project management software designed specifically for architects. It will help you manage people and projects while you focus on designing great architecture. Whether you are working remotely or on site, Archispeak allows you to monitor the status of your projects and tasks and send out invoices in an accurate and timely manner. Our podcast listeners can get a fully functional 15-day trial of Archispeak at the website bqe.com/Archispeak. That's a special link, so it's bqe.com/Archispeak. And thanks to BQE Software for sponsoring Archispeak.
And we are very proud to announce we have a new sponsor for this show, and that is HMC Architects. And with HMC, they wanted to do something a little bit different, and so let's hear what they've got to say.
When creating a high school for a new neighborhood in one of the fastest growing districts in California, you want it to be a reflection of what's happening in that city. Hi, this is Kevin Wilkeson. I'm a K-12 architect at HMC Architects in Ontario, California studio. Adaptable and open spaces, student and teacher collaboration zones, video production studio, and acoustically designed music rooms. Our design for Portola High School in Irvine is modern learning for a modern city. The Student Center features movable chairs and sofas, and a library with dedicated quiet rooms, giving it the look and feel of a college campus or Silicon Valley office. We place design and innovation labs in the heart of campus to spark interest and ideas. Designed a 700-seat theater, black box, and dance studio to support music and dance programs. More than a school, it's a place where kids are exposed to disciplines they may have never considered. A place to collaborate, to create something amazing, and to leave their mark on the world. At HMC Architects, we believe a successful design is one that ultimately enriches the lives of students, teachers, and communities. To become a part of our story, visit hmcarchitects.com.
Welcome to Archispeak, the podcast that talks about what it's like to work in the profession of architecture.
Welcome to episode 111 of the Archispeak podcast. I'm Neil Pan.
I'm Evan Troxel.
And I'm Cormac Phelan.
And to start off, first up, we have a very special friend of the show to announce. And Evan, who would that be?
We do indeed have a very special friend of the show to announce, and that is Steve Hall. You can find Steve over at stevehallarchitecture.com. And the reason that Steve is so special is because, we took down the friend of the show link on our website, and he still found it. And he donated.
He's with the CIA.
This is somehow he actually pays attention to the numbers in the beginning of our episode. This is episode 111. And he donated $111, and he just wrote us a really nice note, and so we wanted to thank Steve. He said that he thinks that this is the best podcast in the land as far as he's concerned, and
in the land.
It's like having a conversation with myself, he says.
That's really sad.
What podcast cannot be the best in the land if it's like you're talking with yourself? So you guys could talk about door hardware for an hour, and I'd listen twice. So, Steve, you have very low expectations of a podcast. We really appreciate it, and so we we love the note. We're super excited that we get to be the people in your headphones while you're exercising. And so your contribution definitely helps keep us going. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
And Steve, we're really looking forward to that episode 1000 donation.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And so we're going to get right into the show, and we're going to start talking about log hardware.
That's right. This
episode brought to you by
Steve
Stanley.
Hall. No, it's all about Steve Hall, right? Door hardware. This whole episode, door hardware.
Anyway, thanks, Steve. And for all of you other podcast listeners out there, go ahead and try to find the donate button yourselves. That'd be great. So I thought I've been feeling like super overwhelmed. And one thing that I don't know if it's just the time of year. This is definitely something that's going around. I read on a friend of the show, Laura Teagarden's blog about, she wrote a post called A Lesson in Burnout. And so she's been super busy too. And I just think that, I don't know, I've got so much stuff going on. I'm sure you guys probably feel similarly, but maybe we could give people kind of a glimpse of, it's not just the life of an architect, but it's like just what is real life in architecture like? And I think a lot of our listeners can commiserate with us on this episode and probably just nod their heads along with this one. But I wanted to talk a little bit about all the stuff that's going on and just it was pretty interesting how just the other day I just really felt it. And I don't always feel it, but it was just one of those things. And I think it's just because the culmination of a couple of big projects, and not even architectural projects, but teaching my class that I've been teaching and doing all the grading. I had 90 students and I had to grade all these written finals because I did not figure out how to use the Scantron machine in time, which is stupid.
You paid for it, didn't you?
Maybe next time. And then we had a tech conference that we just ran this week in our office, which was a huge planning effort. I'm one of the leaders of that team, so we've been planning for the last few months, and that came up. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about that and just what's generally going on in the day-to-day life of everybody here around the microphones. But I'll just jump off first with grading. And the only reason I really want to bring it up is because I just wanted you guys to hear, and I'm obviously not going to name any names here, but there's some craziness out there. I got emails after my grades were all done asking why their late work had not been graded. And
could it have been because it was late? I'm just guessing. I'm throwing that out there. Spitballing.
Anything would help.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Is this what it's like? I don't know. One thing that always kind of boggles the mind about some student work is how at the last moment is when they start inquiring about what more can they do. And the funny thing is, like, you never had to do more. You just had to show up and do the things.
Let's parallel.
What?
Well, let's parallel that to practice.
Well, and that's what I do. I think that's how I think about it, actually, because, and maybe this is where you're going, maybe not, but I think we live in deadlines.
Right.
That's all we have. Yeah. And so if you're late in the profession, like there's nothing that can be done. I mean, you can beg and plead and maybe turn in something late, and maybe the world isn't going to end, but at the same time, like, that's the main thing that you have to learn to deal with.
I could have gone that direction in what I was thinking, but I was also thinking, as you were talking about it, that you always know when you're getting closer to a deadline, because that's usually when your consultants are calling up or emailing you questions about, are you sure that, can we put a chase here, or can we do that there, or,
I need the roof to be thicker. I need the soffits to be thicker. I need the ceiling to be lower.
And all the while, you're trying to get your stuff done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, you do know that it's 2 weeks from our 100% CD.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I
you're
basically
asking SD questions.
I got the same. It's the same story. It's slightly from a different perspective. But one of the cool things that did happen was after one of the finals, and I talked a little bit about this on a previous episode, was that this is an emerging technology class. So we talked about all of the different things that are going on in the profession that are high tech things, and one of the students after the final, he left, and then he came back like 5 or 10 minutes later. And he said, I just want you to know that, well, what I don't want you to think is that my participation in this class has anything to do with my enthusiasm for it. That's how he started off. So I thought, oh, okay, you must must not have done too well. But what he followed up with is he actually said, this is the best class I've ever taken. Oh. And I was kind of blown away by that, right? Because
Mr. Troxell just gave you a 8+.
So I said, so what does that mean? Why? And he said, he said 2 weeks ago I built my first 3D printer, and I've been printing on that. And yeah, right. So he bought a kit, put it together, started using it for his studio. But the cooler thing that I thought was really neat was when he said that after one of the presentations, which was by a friend of mine who does civil engineering, and he does this really cool. He flies drones, and they do aerial surveys, basically, where they build a 3D model of your site based on all these photos they take with the drone. It's called photogrammetry, and it's really cool stuff. And he was totally inspired by this lecture. So he sends an email to DJI, who's a huge drone company, and says, I'm a thesis student in architecture. I want to use your drone to survey my site. And he said, they FedExed me a drone. He said they expedited it.
That's awesome.
So then he says, after that, he goes, it's in my backpack right now. I'm going to go, he goes, I'm going to go get some flight time in. And he said, I've already started working on my pilot's license. So I just thought that was really, really cool to hear. And a few other emails and comments from students with similar feelings and thoughts. And so I just thought that was really rewarding. And it was also something that it made me kind of think about why, I guess, or how I designed the course. And it was just based on what would I want to hear. The students' point of view as far as digital tools and stuff is fairly limited. They use what their professors ask them to use, or maybe they have a little bit of time to get on YouTube and try to learn a different tool, but they don't get a broad exposure to what's going on. And I've been fortunate enough to attend some really interesting tech conferences and then run my own tech conferences within our company and get all of the fantastic people within our company who have all these different niche passions in tech come together and share that stuff. And so I've been able to pass that along to the students, and I felt like it was pretty successful. So I have enough contacts in the industry to have some really amazing guest speakers come in, and I talked a little bit about that before in the previous episode. But so I had some lame students, and I got some really great students, and as it goes. But I thought that really was kind of icing on the cake there.
Bravo! Congratulations.
So curious about the lame students.
Ooh, tell us more.
I'm just curious to, what were some of the excuses, or what was some of the,
Oh, I bet we know. Well, I bet we know some of those excuses, Cormac, because we've used them ourselves.
We recognize them.
But before you go into that, can I? So I started daydreaming while you started talking about the drone and all that other stuff.
Daydreaming or sleeping, nodding off.
No. I mean, sure, it's late, but no, daydreaming. Okay. And I was thinking, I started just kind of remembering back to the last time I was face to face with a drone. I shot it down.
Oh yes,
good times,
good memories.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was on
different kind of drone.
Hope you don't have any flashbacks.
It was on the receiving end,
flying around.
It was on the receiving end of a Stinger missile.
Oh, God.
I could have you come teach a class, lecture about advanced technologies.
It would be hilarious.
Jet propulsion.
If you're sitting there and you're just like, and so we're going to fly this drone around, and then seconds later it gets shot down. It's just like, but what we're really going to teach is...
How to shoot
And
down
then
a
I
drone.
come out of the trees with,
Camo on your face. War paint.
it's happened.
Yeah. There were no trees,
There
Cormac.
was no
There's like
trees where you were
totally-
at, though.
No, there were no trees.
Just sand.
And lots of
Sand
it.
and heat. So yeah, the excuses were, not so much excuses beyond, I get it, this is totally my fault, but it was I collected everything digitally, and part of the course was creating posts and then commenting on other people's posts, creating a discourse, right? And that's an integral piece of this course. And people who did not do the commenting on their peers' work came back after I had done my grading and started adding comments in because they realized that they did not do that. And at which point, right, it completely defeats the purpose of having the discourse, because no one who did the work is going to go back and read the comments of the people who did not do the work. So that was probably the majority of the issues, was just people just didn't have time or didn't take the time to do it.
Did you explain as part of emerging technologies that there's software out there for time management and reminders?
Yeah, we did. We actually had a whole lecture on information management. So,
Because
yes.
you could set reminders, make comment on other students' work.
Yeah.
Mr. Troxel, serious. It is part of our grade.
Yeah. So there you go. So one of the other cool things that I did at the end of the quarter was I sat in on a jury of 2, which was me and the other professor who taught a film and urbanism class, which was pretty cool because as an architecture class, I mean, it's pretty different. It's a eye-opening for the students to work within the bounds of a different industry, right? So they've got motion graphics and filming and sound recording and storyboarding and editing and all this stuff that they had to put together for these basically, 90-ish second films. And it was really cool to see the final outcome. I wasn't there for the midterm, but from what was being said in the course or in the final, there was a lot of progress had been made. And if anybody here has made a film before, I mean, it's a lot of work, and you got to think differently about it. But it's not too divorced from the creative process that we go through in architecture school to be absolutely foreign. But it was really fun to see the little stories that people told. And so the urbanism tie-in, I guess, was either location based, or maybe it was like commenting on societal things. There was a lot of them commenting on the integration of technology, mainly iPhones and cell phones, and how everybody's face is in their phone all the time. There was a lot of kind of social commentary on that kind of thing, and Amazon Alexas and people talking to their computers, and so that was kind of interesting, I thought. But it's kind of like final presentations where the designers, if you want to be able to give a good presentation, you have to be able to communicate. And some of the students just kind of stood up there and pressed play and then just waited for people to start commenting. And I felt like the ones who were more successful were the ones who jumped into explaining kind of how they got to where they were. And this has also been reinforced by watching those Netflix abstract series that you were talking about, Cormac. All of these designers that you're watching are great communicators. And that's why they are so successful in their line of work, because they're the ones who can not just sell their design, but inspire people with their words that help make the leap, right? Because when you're presenting to a client, you're not always showing them a final product. You're trying to share an idea or a dream or whatever. And so the people who can communicate it, I think, are the most successful. And that just kind of really locked into my head when I was watching these students talk, is the ones who can communicate and can tell a story really do head and shoulders above the others stand out. I thought that was just kind of an interesting thing in such a weird little offshoot of a class.
Well, and that's just going to help them in the future, in whether they're pursue something other than architecture or just in architecture in general, when you're having to stand up in front of somebody, specifically a client, and trying to explain to them, what it is that they're doing for them. And, we've talked about in the past how presentation skills are key. And, this storytelling is really kind of like the key of really the most successful kind of way of presenting something, rather than kind of just lecturing somebody about what it is you're doing. Kind of like carrying them along in a story is, and to be able to do that, that's great that they're getting this exposure now.
Hey, Evan, I'm curious.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask. I'm curious. How did most people shoot these? Were they using video cameras?
How do you think?
I'm going to guess they all used iPhones, but
yeah, pretty much.
Is that right? Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the amazing thing. I went to lunch with the professor afterward, and we talked a little bit about that, and I was just pointing out, and he obviously already knew this, but it's pretty interesting to watch how far everything's come in the last 20 years, where you can do the entire project on your phone. You don't just have to shoot it there.
Wow.
Funny you said it. So my son had to do basically a PSA for one of his classes. Sure enough, he had to do it, and it was more or less due like around the Thanksgiving holiday, and we were already in Michigan visiting family and things like that, and he had to do everything basically from scratch because he hadn't done it, or it was done on the computer at home, didn't have access to it, and so we basically did everything on my phone. His buddy had texted me some audio and all that other stuff that we needed to use, a couple of just still images, and I had him basically map out the story. We mapped out the story, and we did the whole thing on my iPhone 7.
It's amazing.
It was great too. I mean,
and what you're collaborating with somebody else who's sending you images via SMS or whatever, iMessages or whatever, and you can publish it or deliver that file with the same device after you're done with it.
And so we posted it because it had to be posted on a Google Classroom, and so we just posted it through that. I did all the editing. We compressed it down so that it was easily transmittable and everything else, and and then even sent the final cut of it back to his buddy who was back in Maryland, who wanted to see what the final product was. And it was just great to kind of be able to do that. Have him. He took my phone, used the audio. He just kind of did kind of a voiceover. And we laced it in with some images and things like that. It was just, it was fun. But yeah, it's actually pretty amazing. I haven't used my phone to the full extent, trying some of the 4K video, but I know somebody else has.
Yeah, well, it is amazing, and I think that you don't get all the bells and whistles, and I think some of the storytelling techniques that the students were using were pretty cool. I mean, they had to think like they were in the film class, so they would do part of the film in black and white and have it transition to color to kind of give a subtle hint that something was changing environmentally. They also had to struggle with, how do you record audio well? I mean, they don't have sophisticated technology to capture good audio, so a lot of them just ditched audio altogether. And some of them did subtitling. Some of them just used the mood of the music to kind of indicate a change in the scene. So there was a lot of interesting ways that the students approached storytelling, which I think we could all learn from watching. Is just, there's a lot of ways to communicate. There's so many ways that we can tell stories, and there's so many ways that we can do it with a thing in our pocket. It's pretty crazy, whether it's social media or whether it's through creating video or creating some kind of a storyboard or a comic or whatever. There's so many different ways we could do it. It was pretty fun.
What a great class and this was in the architecture program, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What a great class to be able to teach people how to think about storytelling.
And it was all group projects, so everybody kind of had to take on a different task, which maybe this totally applies to architecture too. Not everybody gets to be a designer, right? Somebody's got to, when you're going to design school, everybody's a designer. But when you're working on a group project, especially in film school, you on a project, you might just do sound. And on the next project, you might just do cinematography. And on the next project, you might be the director. And on the next one, you might be an actor. I mean, there's specified roles, and everybody kind of rotates through those. And it would be cool, I think, if we did that a little bit more in architectural education, so that people get an understanding and maybe an appreciation for the different roles, find out what they like, find out what they hate, but understand that all the parts make a whole. I think that is all really good stuff that is modeled well in this completely different format, which is film. So anyway, it was really interesting.
It's very cool. And again, like I said, I'm kind of glad that things like that exist, because all it's going to do is help them in the future for the profession. Yeah.
So what's going on with you guys? I mean, that's my world. I'm glad it's over.
Well, yesterday I did our ACE mentoring program again yesterday, which is kind of funny, is that I was explaining to them, so today was one of those weird days where I'm having to write a additional services proposal for a project that is shifting gears, and only a portion of it's being built now.
That's a nice way to say it. Yeah. Shifting gears.
Yeah, exactly. And only a portion of it's being built now, and just because we're getting a lot of community pushback and things like that, and even though it really is one of those projects that's the betterment for the entire community, including the client, it just a lot of pushback. And so I was typing that, and I was kind of just staring into the screen in another email, and I was kind of telling you guys this earlier, but I mean, another email kind of pops up, and it's from another project, and they want to go a specific direction, and just kind of like took this deep breath, and I'm like, why is it that our main role sometimes is to save our clients from themselves. And the guy that was sitting next to me, he just kind of like perked up. He's like, yeah, he's just like, I guess that's really our main role, I was like, sometimes, yeah.
Not always, but yeah.
Not always. But, it was interesting because, I kind of was explaining to him why, I made the comment. And, it was talking about I brought up the word forethought. And I was like, it's because that's what we bring to the projects, is this forethought of thinking about everything that we do on the project. Our planning process isn't just, that's, one idea, that's it, we're good, done, move on. It's, we vet it, we roll through it, we talk about it, we, say what's good about it, what's bad about it. We try to change perspectives and see it from a different view or a different, attitude. And make sure it's the right thing to do. And so yesterday at our ACE mentoring, I was kind of sitting down, and we're getting to the point where all of the students need to start developing either the exterior skid or the interior planning, or some kids were working on the site planning. So I was working with the kids who are working on the interior planning and space layout and all that other stuff. And so I was talking about the exact same thing, and it just seemed like the theme of the day was, forethought and what that really means in architecture, and having to kind of explain to them more or less exactly what I had to turn around and explain to some coworkers that later has to get translated to the owner, is the reason why we're doing it this way isn't because we're just trying to be difficult and say, no, you really do need to do it this way. It's because we did think about this way or that way or this way. And the reason why we're, telling you to do it this way is because at the end of the day, when you're completely phased through all of the different, construction phases, because this is a phased over several year process, at the end of the day, you will have full access to the building and everything else. But if you limit it and just put, the temporary stuff over here on this side of the building for what we're building right now, you will never be able to dig all of that stuff up and move it into its right location. But if you put it in the right location, you're not paying any more money now or later on the road. Well, actually, you're paying less money if you put it in the right location, because you're not going to have to try to relocate it later. And so going through all of that, and it just kind of seemed like the theme is help me help you. I felt like, I'm going to pull my Jerry Maguire out. So
sometimes clients are their own worst enemies. Is that it?
Yeah. Sometimes they are, and I get where they're coming from. I mean, they're just seeing they're looking at the first cost and how do we, control cost, and how do we manage the project that we have now. And, that's why I always bring up the term forethought, because we have to think about all the way, tell me what you're going to be doing, not just this year or next year, but what are your plans 5 years, 10 years from now? Let's look at that, and let's make sure what we're doing with this one little teeny project right here, how is that going to fit into the bigger picture? And how are we going to be able to access it throughout the future, as things develop around it, and all that other stuff. So I have I think my life is now currently measured by half bridges and half buildings.
It's just a milestone.
Just a glass half full tonight, then.
It's not a measure.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a half. It's a half full of a lot of things.
Yeah, luckily not every client's like that. Luckily, there's some that blow you away, right? And say, I would have never thought of that, and just little things like that kind of help keep the.
It's like golf, right? It's that one
happy.
Great shot.
It's that one shot
coming back for more.
See, for me with golf, it was that one shot that it was all the other ones that just made it where it wasn't worth it.
Now, when we're talking golf, we're talking about putt-putt golf, right? Into the clown's mouth, through the fair.
No, that one's way more fun.
Or more frustrating.
The other one I don't get.
Oh, the other one is really frustrating.
Like, wait, so I've got to hit a ball 300 yards down range and then walk past it?
So I have a story about golf, because I grew up I felt like I had to be good at golf.
Why?
Because my grandfather was amazing at golf. Oh. And so he passed away a few years ago in his mid-90s. He was playing golf into his early 90s, like 3 times a week. He was made to golf, right? And he had 65 holes in one.
Oh my God.
Over his lifetime.
Really?
Yeah. What? I am totally serious. He was in the local paper almost every time. Like, there is a record of this. And so I always felt like I had to be good at golf because he was so good at it. And he tried to teach me and my brother how to play golf, and he taught my mom and her brother how to play golf too when they were young. So I always felt like, man, my grandpa's so good at this. I just have to be. Like, why wouldn't I be good at this? And it was so frustrating to me. There was one day when I just finally decided that it just was not worth it for me. And have been so happy about that decision ever since. But there's people who love to play golf, and there are people who are good at golf, and then there are other people like me who just struggled with it. And my perfectionist attitude is really what got in the way, right? If I couldn't hit it perfectly every time, it was incredibly frustrating. It was much more negative than positive. So,
haven't you ever watched The Professionals? These guys do it all day, every day, and they still don't get it right all the time.
Yeah, but it's just like any athlete. They do make it look pretty easy.
They do.
And so I think that was also just part of the downfall, was watching all these other people make it look so easy.
Wait a minute. I think this is, Cormac, is this not like, I mean, we should mark this day as a milestone. We've got Evan talking about sports.
Oh my God.
I don't know if Cormac's considering it a sport.
Sports? Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure I consider it a sport.
Okay. Well, but it's about as close as we've ever gotten Evan to talk about
I'm
sports.
sure I'm probably going to catch some shit from people who are like, golf is a sport?
Of course.
Oh, crap. Now we're really opening ourselves up here.
You guys remember that one? There was a commercial, and it was like full contact golf. The guy was like sitting there getting ready to make a putt, and he was about to get tackled.
That would be awesome.
That would
you could watch that, right?
Golf would be a sport then.
Oh man, that's
hilarious. Or you've got like a goalie sitting in front of the hole.
Oh, God. I found the link. There will be a link in the show notes to that, by the way.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Thanks.
No, I'm much happier rock climbing. It's so much better. So much better. I'd rather put my life on the line than play golf.
So, just real quick, I've kind of noticed that you've been a little frustrated with the way that you've been posting to Instagram with the swipe left to kind of see your panorama, and then when it gets posted to Facebook, and it says swipe left, and you see the comments like, "What do you mean swipe left?
Yeah,
you can't.
I know,
it's just
right?
You scroll up and down, and it's just stacked." And you're just like, "Dude, seriously, just go." And then I think you posted like, "Go to my Instagram."
I'm going to stop posting those, cross-posting those to Facebook. It just doesn't work. You would think that since they're owned by the same company, they would actually have this figured out.
Think.
Is that okay? Wait a minute. Is that what happened? Because I saw that on Facebook, and I'm like, "What do you mean swipe left? Nothing's happening. This is all jacked up." I gave up.
Yeah, it's because it was from his Instagram post.
Okay.
And
so what Cormac is talking about is I've posted a few panoramas that are split into thirds, and when you swipe through them, it looks like one nice, beautiful, big panorama on Instagram. But when it gets translated to Facebook, it's all
wait a minute. Are you using a special app for that?
Yeah. What's it called? It's called Polar.
Panels. Panols. I just did that the other day, actually, and I thought it was really
it's a great
cool.
app. It is. It's neat because it'll take any panorama you've shot on your phone, and it will automatically crop it down into 3 squares that abut each other exactly. So when you when you swipe through them on Instagram, it automatically lines them up, and it's a nice way to present panoramas because otherwise you just get this little sliver of an image in Instagram. So
right.
Everybody should check that. If you have the Apple Store app on your phone, it's a free giveaway right now.
That's how I discovered it, and I just posted something the same thing. I did not check my Facebook feed though to see what happened to it.
Yeah, right. Don't.
Neil, I did.
Advice well
taken.
Yeah,
I did want to ask something that you posted in on Apple for Architects.
Mm-hmm.
Some shameless plug for your other
my other site, or other group.
So the everything that Apple announced in 3-minute video.
Oh, I think it was like 30 seconds, really, but
30 seconds,
or maybe it was 3 minutes. Yeah.
What's new? Because it didn't really seem like there was much of anything.
I didn't even know there was an announcement happening, so that just shows you right
Although
there. It was just a press release.
I will definitely say that I like if Apple could be a little more succinct as that video was, where they basically just wrapped it up in that 30 seconds or 60 seconds or whatever it was, that basically just said, here's what we got. Here's what it can do.
Well, actually, they did one better. They just had press releases. There was no event.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No wonder I didn't know about it.
Yeah, exactly. That was just like a press release. That's
how they should do it. When it's just like updates like that, that's great.
Yeah, and they've done that in the past when it's minor updates, a speed bump or something like that. Yeah, they're just press releases. They don't do a full, dog and pony.
But people
show.
still complain.
Why not? Yeah, it's the thing to do.
I do kind of dig the Code Red iPhone 7.
I think that's product.
I wish
red,
the face was
way.
black.
Not to be too pedantic on you, but yeah.
So I have the red leather case on my black phone, and it looks good. So they should have done that.
It's actually better because the red phone has a white face on it.
No, I don't like the white face.
I don't either.
On the red.
Yeah,
I don't either.
I'm saying, yeah. Oh, you're saying mine's better?
Yeah, yours is better because you've got the red case, right, with the black face of the black phone, but the new product red phone has a white face to it.
Yeah.
I didn't
it's like
care
a candy
for that.
cane.
I know I'm about to fall down a different rabbit hole here, but
oh boy,
do it.
Do you guys use the screen protectors?
No. Never.
That was easy.
No, because I've got 3 reasonably deep scratches.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
On my
from what?
I don't know.
What you been doing?
Well, you're rough on
Putting your keys in your pocket?
on your stuff, though, Cormac. You probably should.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was going because I can't stand them. Because they're like the
they
tempered
don't feel
glass
the same.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tempered glass ones they're so much thicker
that
I just don't like the feel of them. Just asking. There you go.
Asking for a
there
friend.
You go, everybody.
Do a poll.
Yeah.
Oh, we
tweet us.
We could do a Twitter
tweet us
poll
if you
for
use
that.
a screen protector.
Who uses a screen protector and who doesn't? Actually, somebody was like, "You should get the waterproof case and stuff." I'm like, waterproof? My phone's waterproof.
That's true. It is.
Actually, I'm going to find the video where they did the side-by-side comparison of the iPhone 7 and the Samsung, the one that they actually say is waterproof.
Where they say they're both waterproof? Yeah.
Well, Apple really does a good job of not saying it's waterproof. They just show a little video with a splash of water on it, from some little old dude that's,
they underpromise,
going
right?
for a swim. Yeah, they underpromise. But then this one guy did a side-by-side comparison and tested it down to 35 feet for 20 minutes and, stuff like that. And he pulled, he did it at multiple different depths. And, so the thing had been in the water for at least 2 hours. Up and down, both of them. And then finally the Samsung just crapped out. And the iPhone had a little bit of funkiness to it, but otherwise it was, still good to go.
A little asterisk in the marketing materials. It gets a little funky.
Gets a little funky after 2 hours at 35 feet.
That's pretty amazing, right?
It's
it's crazy.
I've been so reluctant. I've wanted to try it. I've taken plenty of photos while it's raining, and that's about the extent of it getting wet. But it's
as far as you want to go. Yeah,
it's as far as I want to go. I don't think I've got it in me to submerge my phone.
Yeah.
No,
I'll save that for accidentally dropping it in the toilet sometime.
Yeah.
It's too much information, man. I don't want to know that.
My wife did once.
She shouldn't listen to this, right?
No,
you just outed her.
Exactly. Somebody's going to text her. And
Words getting back.
No comment.
Yeah.
No comment.
Somebody.
But Evan, so you started us off tonight by talking, or in this episode, talking about being really busy and lots of things going on, and I feel very much the same. This week's been really impactful for me because a number of different projects are going on in different phases, and we can talk about a little bit about that if you want. But I've also had a planning commission meeting that went for about 3 hours, and also we had the next night after that was a 4-hour joint planning commission and city council meeting. So two nights back to back, plus work, plus a number of other things trying to go on, and then just on the fun side is trying to plan out summer vacations and activities for the
that
kids.
wasn't the fun side?
Well, that's the fun stuff, right? I mean, you're trying to...
But you were
No,
doing
the
that
point-
while
no,
you were
the-
at the city council meeting, weren't you?
No, actually, no. No, that's one
He's
place where the phone stays in the bag, and yeah, you don't pay any attention to anything. You're focused on the meetings, and they're very intense, right? I mean, especially the planning commission meetings, because you're focused and you focus on the presentation, and then the public comments. And we had a number of people speak at this particular meeting, and they were very passionate. And you're taking notes about their questions, because the way our format works is, and I'm sure it's very similar in other jurisdictions, but the public comment, they'll ask us, and then it's our job to then ferret out that information, to ask back, right? There's no dialogue between the public and, say, city staff or the applicant, right? I mean, they don't ask the question and then the applicant gets up and answers, or city staff answers them. Is typically not the procedure we go through. And so you're taking notes about, their questions, and you're thinking about how does that affect the project. And then you get into asking questions, and then other, commissioners are asking questions, and you're thinking, oh, what does that trigger for me? And how do I think about it? And how does that affect my decision? Especially when you go into the dialogue about the project itself. And then you find out 2 days later, you get this. Well, before I get to that, what's really interesting, and I don't know if you guys are on your local Nextdoor networks, the social media network Nextdoor. It's really interesting to be on that.
I'm sure I want to know what's going on next door.
Oh, you may not. Well, let me give you two examples of why it can be good and bad. But the interesting part is that I'm on that, and I get to see the information that flows around my local neighborhoods. And it's interesting because people will oftentimes maybe comment on those projects before they come to the planning commission. And it's really...
I don't know what Commissioner Pan was thinking about.
No, well, yeah, well, so it's interesting to hear the comments, prior to the public hearing. And it's very helpful, actually, because then you're getting some feedback from the public, from people that may not come to the meeting. So you can use that as feedback. But then again, a couple of days later, we get this very interesting email from somebody. I don't know if they were at the meeting, but they just detailed all of the things that they felt we didn't do a very good job with. Clearly, they were against in this particular case, the project passed, and they were clearly against it. And it was a pretty scathing email that was sent to the planning department that bashed a lot of the things that we did. It's like, oh, really makes you think, because ironically, the next night, what I was mentioning about going to the Joint Commission it was a workshop, and there were classes and stuff that we were taught about the importance of the things that we're doing and what's the legal basis for it and all this stuff, and CEQA and all these different things. But it's very intense, and it's just hours and hours of paying very close attention and trying to do the best job you can, right? And make the most informed decision that you can. And getting back to the Nextdoor, the bad side is, yes, you can see stuff that goes on in your neighborhood and maybe you really don't want to know. But then on the good side is just, I think it was yesterday, somebody had posted a few-year-old MacBook Pro that they were selling for, a very reasonable price. And both of my kids share one laptop that we have here in the house, and they're getting to an age where they kind of need to be doing homework at the same time, or they kind of need. So I ended up picking up a new MacBook Pro, actually, several years old. So very low cost, but now each kid will have their own to use. So that's kind of good. So that's the good side of it, right? And then it turns out the person I bought it from is like 2 blocks from my house.
Wow. I just joined right now just to check it out. And there are people in my neighborhood using this thing. So
What is it called again?
Nextdoor. One word.
Yeah, Nextdoor. Yeah. There's good parts about it. There's bad parts about it. But ironically, the gentleman I bought the computer off of said that he got like mine and 2 other responses on Nextdoor, and he got about 3 or 4. He posted it on Craigslist, and he said about, I think 3 of the 4 posts on Craigslist were all either spam or I'll give you so much money if you send it to so and so in some other state or something. And it's like no, delete. It was just interesting. His experience in the past had been very positive with Craigslist, and now his experience was very positive on Nextdoor and very negative on Craigslist, which he felt was very interesting. But yeah, I'm feeling the same pressure of all of these different things going on at the same time. It's adding up, and it is a little overwhelming right now.
Yeah,
Add
definitely.
That to the pseudo winter craziness of cabin fever and stuff on my side of the world. You don't have winter, so you don't know.
we had winter this year.
This is the first time in a long time. Well, bring it back a little bit to architecture. I saw on our website today, this kind of goes well with the new HMC ad for our podcast, but they posted the final shots of the high school that I did the performing arts building and the arts building on, and they came out beautiful. I don't know if you guys had a chance to check that out, but if you we'll put a link to it in the show notes. But you can see the Performing Arts Theater and all the other buildings on the campus for the new high school in Irvine. It's a huge project. It's like a $120 million high school.
What was the project called?
Portola High School.
Okay, that's the one that's right out the front of.
Yeah, it should be on the front page now, and you can see some drone shots, and it's basically on the old it's from
about shooting down.
Been there, done that.
It's a project for a developing area in Irvine that is on the old El Toro Air Base.
This is fantastic.
And one of the cool shots, you can see the big orange balloon floating off in the background. That's one of the things you can do out there right now. But it's pretty cool that it's all done, and they moved in, and the theater looks beautiful, and it's really
I'm looking at
really cool to see the final shots.
The shot with the in the control room of the theater.
Yeah.
And they've got all their Mac products.
It's pretty amazing that it's a high school. I mean, one of the things that
you know what I miss?
They talk about in that ad is just how this is kind of one of those things where the client actually did dream pretty big. So
I miss these. So, looking at this high school, it's this open campus. You walk from building to building and you're outside and everything. That was my campus in high school in Florida. And I kind of miss those. I mean, all of the all of the high schools that we do are, big one building type, interconnected. And no one ever really goes outside unless you're going home or you're going out for PE.
Yeah.
So are you trying to say the weather in Florida sucks?
No, I'm saying here in Maryland.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
The ones that we design here, they're all enclosed. And in Florida, we'd have... The only difference that I see here is... I guess you do. I'm looking at the drone shot here. And we would have covered walkways for the rain. But other than that...
Yeah, there's a few, but not a lot. And it just depends on the school. Sometimes they really want it, and sometimes they don't. And yeah.
Yeah, see, here's another big thing. And, this is more of just a kind of the thing, one of the philosophies du jour in high schools and stuff these days, or in schools in general, are the secure campus.
Yeah.
And, the kind of like one entry point in, one entry point out type of thing. And I can see how this is a little bit of a security nightmare.
Well, it just depends on the philosophy of the school, right? Here, all the schools all the students leave to go to lunch. They don't even stay on campus, or a lot of them don't. So they've got they really do have a different attitude.
my son's school, he can go to like some of the local restaurants if he has time. Most of the time he's just doing homework or hanging with his friends.
But yeah, like after some of these incidents that have happened, they've got to have defensible space, and they want all kinds of security things. They don't want big expanses of glass looking into the classroom. They want solid panels that kids can hide behind, and there's all kinds of stuff going on in school architecture out there that is driven by security now because of Sandy Hook and stuff like that.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is all a bunch of different buildings. I mean, you guys have a lot of single building campuses, I would assume, because of the weather. Right?
Yeah. Still, I mean, they're amazingly large, though.
To be able
to jam in, like,
it's like a mall.
2,500 to 3,000 students per high school.
Yeah, and right now this high school is only freshmen.
Oh, really?
They opened up with only freshmen, so they'll be there the entire 4 years, but each year they're going to add another class.
Oh,
gotcha.
That's interesting.
So they're not moving any students from existing high school campuses onto this campus.
Are they the Bulldogs?
How could you tell?
Got a flag bigger than both the U.S. and California flag.
There's a picture of the gymnasium, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Well,
how did that?
Jeez. I think of all of the pictures right now.
Schools love their mascots.
Schools love their mascots. That's a nice theater. Really nice theater.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Wow.
It's pretty fun to go explore in there. That is a circulation puzzle. It's very Escher-ish when you're designing a theater, because there's so much back of house circulation. It's pretty freaking awesome. It's really cool to see it built, because you get to go into those spaces you've only seen in Revit.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Hey, so
anyway,
nice. I have a quick question. We're talking about schools, and I just wanted to bring this up. It was in our recent California Architects newsletter. So it's University of Southern California is now one of the universities, at least one of three apparently, in California that are doing the integrated path to architecture licensure.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you guys think of that?
There's 12 schools total, or 14 maybe, that signed up to, or got approved, I guess, through NCARB to do that. And then there's 3 in California, and they're one of them. I think it's, I don't know, good and bad.
We'll see. I mean, honestly, we'll see. My whole stance on experience, and I just don't see how school's going to do that. But
what I mean by good and bad is there should be many, many paths to licensure.
Well, I think
this is one of them.
Yeah,
there shouldn't just be one way to do it. I mean, if we've learned anything, is that this profession hangs on to tradition for way too long. Right, and so when you start looking at alternatives like this, there's a bunch of cranky people who are going to throw a fit about this kind of thing. But at the same time, this is going to be perfect for some people. So I'm not complaining. That's why I meant good and bad, as in, it's going to be really good for some people, and it's not going to work for others. There's going to be people very excited about it, and there's going to be people really cranky about it.
When I graduated, I had 4 years of experience, because when I quit school after third year, and because I couldn't afford it, and went home, got a job with an architecture firm, and essentially interned there for as many years as it took me to build back my reserves to go back to school, or also feel like I was ready to go back. It was I could have graduated on that path, and probably still can, and still get it early. Anyway, I'm not nothing.
Well, I think, imagine if you went through school where one of the main focuses was to get your testing done as soon as you got out,
right? Versus
the education you got. Would you want to do that?
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I think it's I think what I find interesting about this is that, at least from my recollection, this has been a few years, but when I was in Europe, when the students graduated architecture school, they were architects. Now, they didn't have the testing, NCARB sort of thing that we have here in the United States, but it was, you were an architect at that point. It was done. And I see this as an opportunity to create something similar. Now, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I think, Evan, I think you hit the nail on the head about it will be good for some people and may not be good for others, but it's good to have this experiment done and tried. And I think it's going to evolve over time. I'm sure that there's been a lot of work that's gone into trying to program it to make it work. And I don't think we're really going to know for 4 or 5 years, right? Because they're starting people now, and it's I don't know if it's something you transfer into, or do you start as a freshman and work your way through? I don't know enough about it. So if somebody does, please let us know, make comments on Twitter or on our Facebook page and let us know what the process is. But I think we're not going to know for a little while. And I think it will be good for some people, and maybe not so good for others. I see a lot of coworkers of mine struggling with trying to find the time and the cost to handle getting their license. And I think it's nice to see the profession try and accommodate more people to try and get their license in maybe a different way. But I think you're right, Evan. People are going to be cranky about it too. But I think it's a good process to start and to try.
It's a nice option. Yeah.
Well, we'll see how popular it is.
Kind of experimenting with it. If we know anything as designers and architects, that we figure things out as we go. We don't have to have everything figured out up front. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. But for those of us who are comfortable with that, it'll get figured out. I mean, one way or another. I mean, they could decide to just scrap the whole thing, and that would still be considered figuring it out. But I think we'll learn a lot along the way.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, I was just, it's something that came up recently kind of in the news, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Well, if just to answer my own question, if I had to go back and do school again, but do it in a way where it was geared toward getting my license and not learning how to do a lot of the things that I learned how to do, I wouldn't do it.
Well, but you're making an assumption that you're going to get one and not the other, right?
And I kind of have to, because I already know that there's not enough time to teach what they want to teach when it came to what I was taught. I can't imagine having to. Now, there's definitely things that could have been done better, and so maybe it's a little more of a give and take. But man, I can't imagine sacrificing a lot of the courses that I took that taught me how to think and how to solve problems, so that I could pass some tests that were some of the most painful things I've ever had to do. So that's my perspective. That
was the benefit of taking them all in 4 days. At least the pain was over relatively quickly.
Jeez, rip it off. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Before we go, I meant to mention this earlier in the show, and I promised a friend at work that I would mention this, but locally, our Women in Architecture series is having a resilient design lecture series. Cool. And there is one which probably it goes out, the first one is the day the show gets posted, and that's March 27th, which is awesome. It's at the National Building Museum. But then they have another one called Civic Culture at the Urban Land Institute on April 12th. And then, I want to go to these. I want to go to all of them.
And then, well, you better put a link in the show notes.
And then Perkins Eastman.
Nice.
So they've got some pretty cool ones. But anyway, the resilience is the theme of their 2017 Women in Architecture series. And we will put a link in the show notes. And Blair, I apologize for waiting to the end of the show to even remotely mention this, so I will do better in our next show.
All right. How long is that going for? Do you know?
There are 3 in the series. The first one, like I said, is on the 27th, and then the other 2 are in April on the 12th and the 19th.
Nice.
Both in DC, and have got some great lineups of speakers too. So it's fantastic. I mean, there's people represented from Perkins and Will, Perkins Eastman. Apparently, they didn't get away from the Perkins part.
That's not confusing.
No, you know what? I used to not to get too off on the subject, but I mean, for one, I used to think that Perkins and Will and Perkins Eastman were the same company, just like had bought somebody out, and so they like had to use their name or something like that. And then I realized when I actually looked into it that they're just 2 different companies.
And that's one to grow on.
Do, 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 do.
Insert sound effect.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So if you're in the DC area, right? That's
if you are in the DC area.
All right.
This is
and then we can also tease that we are going to have a special guest to talk about some of these types of things coming up in our next episode, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little tease. We don't normally do those, but we kind of know ahead of time this time of where we're going. So with that, before we go, we'd like to thank our episode sponsors. First, we have Arcat. Check out all the features they offer at arcat.com. We're also sponsored by BQE Software, the makers of Archioffice. Archioffice is the only office and project management software designed specifically for architects. Get a fully functional 15-day trial of Archioffice at bqe.com/Archispeak. Make sure you use that special link. And thanks to HMC Architects for their support. To learn more or become part of their story, visit hmcarchitects.com. And make sure to visit our website at archispeakpodcast.com for links to our catalog of episodes and sign up for our newsletter, which includes links to everything we mentioned in the episode. Between episodes, join the conversation on the Facebook page for Archispeak or on Twitter. Links to everything can be found at the main site, archispeakpodcast.com. And stay subscribed for everyone, and thanks for listening. Good night.
See ya.
Wiedersehen.
I joined the choir to sing. They're all competing for some other thing. I joined the choir to sing. I joined the choir to sing. They're all competing for some other thing. I joined the choir to sing. Join the choir to sing. I get good love at the bank. Love had to fill up my gas tank. I give good love at the bank. Love had to fill up my gasoline tank. I serve my nation under God. Sadness not sitting with all that I've got. But when I'm running, pleasure is here. So I run, I'm meant to run, this is there.